Boost, and it stars James Woods. And a funny thing happened to me in the first few minutes of this movie. All James Woods had to do was simply appear on the screen, and I started to smile to myself because this actor has the uncanny ability to almost instantly create the illusion that he's about to explode, maybe in anger, but also maybe in some other kind of emotion or maybe in some kind of a con. With Woods, you never know. No other contemporary actor projects such a strong feeling of unpredictability. Look at him in this scene. Woods has invited a complete stranger to have dinner with himself and his wife, but as the middle of the meal approaches, his friendliness turns into hostility.
Don't worry about money, Lenny, just like everybody else.
Yeah, but you've got some backstops. You start falling down that well, you've got some slats across to catch yourself. All right?
I saw a funny thing on the bus today. A man got on with a French horn.
You got your professor father. You got an education. You got the financial journal. You can't fall too far.
The bus driver wanted the man with the French horn to pay an extra fare because the French horn took up so much room.
My old man's an ex-printer on disability. My mother is a secretary for the Ladies Garment Workers Union.
So the man with the French horn, he said that he would play a concert for everybody instead. He did.
I got a high school education.
All the way across 86th Street. It was beautiful. I cried.
Woods plays a salesman who is going nowhere until he gets a job offer in Los Angeles. He tries to convince his wife, played by Sean Young, that this is the chance they've been waiting for.
No, we should, maybe we're going too fast. We should just take this a step at a time.
Hell with that. You don't step through life. Teacher, may I? It goes too quick for that. You gotta leap through life.
In L.A., he strikes it rich selling leveraged tax shelters to rich investors, but then the bottom drops out of that market, and there's no way he can pay his bills.
Everybody in town thinks I'm a firecracker. And my own wife still thinks I'm a bum.
Lenny, I think you're a genius. I just don't want you to feel like you're on a treadmill having to make more and more money to pay for things we bought that we don't really need.
Trying to recapture his elusive self-confidence, Woods turns to cocaine, and he hooks his wife, too. They lose all of their possessions, and they hit bottom quickly and desperately. The question is, can they turn their lives around?
What's happened to us?
We gotta get out of this goddamn town. Out of the hustles and the deals, the Joels and the coke and the goddamn pain.
The Boost is one of the most horrifying portrayals of drug addiction that I've ever seen, maybe because James Woods is so good at playing the cocaine mood swings, from manic self-confidence to deep despair and depression. We see his entire personality change in this movie, and he turns against everyone, even his wife, even himself, and literally he cannot function at all without cocaine. An earlier movie this year, Clean and Sober, starred Michael Keaton as an alcoholic and drug addict who tried to clean up his act, but The Boost is not about recovery. It's about what it's like to hit bottom and live there with your entire personality held hostage to a chemical. James Woods is the ideal actor for this role because he gives it such an urgency, such an intensity that we can almost physically feel his restlessness and his unhappiness. And Sean Young is very effective, too, as a wife who also experiments with self-destruction, but simply cannot keep pace with the personal hell created by her husband.
Well, Roger, I would say that I agree with you for about the first two-thirds of the movie. When there is the setup of James Woods, and I have the same feeling for him as an actor, we've discussed him many times and how good he is. The beginning of this movie, the setup and his preparation for the cocaine swing, I thought was fascinating. There's a great performance by Stephen Hill as the older real estate salesman, tax shelter salesman, who lures him from New York to L.A. for the good times. And this guy turns out to be a lot more smart about controlling one's life and recognizing that things will ebb and flow in any kind of business. He's sort of father to this guy, and then, of course, Woods turns on him when things bust out, and then Woods' life busts apart. At that point, I found the film predictable. And I hate to say that because Woods is so good, but I thought that the descent into cocaine I had seen before.
Gene, the problem is the descent into cocaine is predictable. It is predictable. There is no way to make it unpredictable because for people like that, once they start, it's straight downhill, and they're looking up all the way because the cocaine tells them it's great all the way down.
Yes, but Roger, even you said in your review that this was the best example of this that you had ever seen. So you're finding gradations in the way it's portrayed, and I'm telling you, this isn't the best that I've ever seen.
What is the best?
Nothing comes to mind. I'll tell you that Clean and Sober, to me, was a more interesting film about drug addiction, but on the point of this being the best, no. I thought this was of a piece, of the same kind.
I think it's a very good movie. Split decision on The Boost, the movie about drug addiction with James Woods. I voted up. Gene has his thumb pointed down.